Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us to wrap up 2025. I'm really excited to have you all here. There's a lot of folks joining from across the globe, and this is one of our biggest webinars of the year when we have our product experts come on and cover what we delivered, where we're heading, and then answer some of your questions that you might have. We have a pretty packed agenda, so we're going to get right into it. First and foremost, we're just going to do some quick introductions to start. That way you know who is talking at each section. Quickly from me, I'll be moderating. I lead product marketing here on our end. So as we go through the webinar, I'll be looking at your questions and making sure that we field those. So I'll kick it over to Mazen and the team for intros, and we'll be underway.
Thank you, Ryan, and excited to have everyone here today. This is Mazen Yunus here. I lead product management for our platform and essentials capabilities, which are essentially the building blocks of our APM applications. And I also manage our AI portfolio. So very nice to have you all, and excited to share the updates from this year and some of the outlook for next year. Martha, over to you.
Thanks, Mazen. Hello, everyone. Martha Saker. I have been with GE for 26 years, 20 of those with PowerGen, the last 6 years with our software business. I am currently the product director for Health, our Realms application, and a few other optimization products. Thank you for your time today.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Janet Webb. I am the product manager and will be covering our SmartSignal predictive analytics solution. I have been with GE for 20 years now, and I'm looking forward to our time together today.
Thanks, Janet. Again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And thank you again for giving us your time. My name is Vipin Nair. I am Director of Product Management for Asset Performance Management, especially for portfolios like mechanical integrity, strategy, reliability standards. So happy and excited to be here in today's call.
Hello, everyone. I'm Laura Robertson. I am a senior product manager for our emissions management software, CERius. Really excited to speak with you all. Thank you so much for joining.
Awesome. Well, with that, we're going to get a few reminders out of the way. We're going to get into the good stuff. So thank you to the team for the quick intros. So this is a reminder, the Q&A box is open to everybody. Feel free to fire your questions away. If there's trending questions during, we'll answer some live at the end. There might be a mix as well of folks answering in the chat. So please add your questions. We're here to answer them and here to clarify anything that you might have. Anything after the fact, if we don't get to your question during, we will follow up with an email with the right person copied to make sure that we get those questions answered for you. So without further ado, this is the agenda that we're going to cover today. Like I said, it's jam-packed. We're going to cover a little bit about our continued leadership position in the market as an APM provider. We're going to get into the weeds a little bit with our product leaders around what we delivered across the portfolio. And then we're going to get into some of the programs that we're running, inclusive of AI, Gen AI, and some other elements that you all might be interested in and our path forward for 2026. And then we'll wrap up with some Q&A at the end. And first and foremost, just to thank you one more time. Every year we say a big thank you to our customers, our partners, as well as the GE employee base. There's a lot of great work that happens every day to make the solutions possible. So thank you all for the continued commitment, and thank you all for the engagement. So without further ado, I'm just going to cover a little bit of what excited me this year from leading the product marketing front on the impact that we're making and we continue to see our software solutions make in the market. And to the partner side of things, again, some exciting news through this past year is just as of yesterday, we were named the North America Partner of the Year with AWS Energy and Utilities. Really, this goes to show our commitment to the internal work on our infrastructure, making sure our SaaS is really easy and ready to deploy and ready for our customers to have the right availability and uptime. There's a lot that you're going to hear later on about how we're collaborating in terms of AI initiatives or new technology introductions that we'll get into. The other piece that we wanted to share is just that I'll walk through a little bit deeper is the third-party market, analyst market out in the community. We do a lot of work with them to keep them up to speed on what we're delivering, what we're building, customers that we're working with. And I'm going to walk through some of the areas in which we continue to excel and we're going to continue to focus on. And then you'll hear the PMs really stack on top of that of how we're going to take that to the next level as we go forward. So to lead off, as a reminder, we have a very strong portfolio for APM. This was a very deep study done a year and a half ago. And really what it goes to show is we are committed to this asset performance management market. You heard from the PMs and their focuses. We do have a strong portfolio, whether it's a single solution for a very fit use case, whether it's a whole portfolio of enterprise applications. We continue to invest in areas across power gen, oil and gas, renewables, and others to really make sure our applications are built for those areas. We continue to focus on our infrastructure and how we connect to data and new data sources, and Mazen will talk more about that. And then again, the innovation and the evolution of how we work with partners, our customers, new technology, and how we plan to really help deliver customer success. So this is a reminder, there's a very big market for APM. We continue to invest in the core areas that we see, and we're going to continue to do more heading into next year. This is the hot topic, is the AI side of the house. So GE and our evolution on the APM front, everyone's looking for an AI tool, whether it's AI, Gen AI, agentic. There's still a lot happening in the market on what's the right AI tool for me. We still focus really heavily, we've been doing it for 30 years on the AI front, is the proven and expanded ROI on what we already deliver. Our SmartSignal products, autonomous inspection, some of the descriptive analytics that we do, some of our optimizers that you've probably heard about. So we're staying focused on really, as you'll see here, a really specialist side of the AI front. So when you hear Mazen, Vipin, and the team talk through what's coming, you can start to contextualize where we're heading with AI in this view, which is really going to help our APM users have very defined, relevant use cases with this technology, using the right data to help get more out of APM. Finally, the last two that I'll cover, we are, again, oil and gas, power generation, metal and mining, renewables really continue to be our core market. We really do look at renewables as an evolving space in terms of, you see oil and gas providers still looking to add some renewables. You see sole renewables producers, power generators adding renewables. We continue to make sure that our products are flexible to fit those use cases. So really what you'll see here, we have elements in our portfolio that work very well in renewables. We have our health indexes, our failure prediction, asset optimization. We even have a solution for solar specifically. So we're going to continue to work and support the renewable space. And a lot of our offerings are fit for that as well. And the last one, before I hand it over to the experts here, is another big area for us continues to be the asset integrity space. We are continuing to invest, and you'll hear from Vipin on this, in our integrity solution. That's upstream, midstream, downstream, right? We have a very large customer base. So there's elements here in terms of how we look at asset data, some of the dynamic risk and IOWs, the introduction of some computer vision elements into the portfolio. And again, we have over 100 customers using this solution. So the oil and gas fixed asset areas will continue to be a focus, and we've been proven to continue to deliver on that vision. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over. After that reminder on how we're still delivering for our core markets, I'm going to hand it over to the team to go through what we did and where we're heading. Vipin, over to you.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, I think before the entire team starts, it's important to set the stage with the portfolio. I understand that a lot of you might be here for the first time, just introducing the portfolio. So as you know, what is the intent of asset performance management? So all the solutions that we have in our portfolio is to really improve your availability and your reliability, optimize your maintenance cost and inspection cost, and ensure compliance and safety. So all these applications that you see stacked on our essentials is kind of providing that value. So which is strategy, providing you the best methodologies to come up with your asset strategies, your asset health, which we'll be talking about, which give you a dynamic risk view of your asset at any point of time, your reliability solution, which is more about understanding your defects and bad actors and eliminating them. We talked about SmartSignal, which is our predictive analytics solution, integrity and safety is really focusing on fixed equipment and your safety instrumented system. You will also see the addition of the new portfolio there, which is the emission management, which is CERius, and Laura will be talking more about it. What I really want to double click is the accelerators. It's been in the market for last few years, but it's really getting tractions. This is the portfolio which helps you get started and get value out of this entire solution much quicker. So it's pre-built data templates, workflows, etc. And also, I would like to double click on autonomous inspection, which is released. It's been more than a year, but we do have several use cases. But one which is very close to me is the ability to understand the external oxidation as a damage mode and flag it and have you take action on it. So that's one of the use case, and we can talk more about it. With that, I'll kind of hand over to Mazen to pick it up for essentials and foundation.
All right, thank you, Vipin. Thanks, Ryan. So on the essentials and foundation aspect, right, we've been working towards multiple updates and enhancements into the portfolio, whether it's on the visualization side, on the integration piece, even on the enablement of our on-prem to cloud migration for our customers. So essentially what we've been focusing on, so first off was how do we expand our data acquisition? So with autonomous inspection, which Vipin mentioned, right? It's our computer vision solution. Our initial release of that solution was tapping into fixed cameras, basically, pulling pictures from these fixed cameras to do, let's say, corrosion detection, right? Thermal heat detection. So we've expanded, though, that data acquisition into robotics as well. So earlier in the year, we've actually announced a partnership as well with Anybotics. They do have a robot and they will release a robot that's actually ATEX compliant robot. So for those of you in oil and gas that would be interested in ATEX compliance, they will have that robot available in 2026. And we've basically implemented a standard integration into that robot using APIs and SDKs to be able to seamlessly plug into the robot and pull in the images and videos. And we're eventually going to expand as well to other sensor data that may come from the robot. Now we're looking as an autonomous inspection solution to also be agnostic to robots. So really you'll see us and you'll hear me talk about more as well on us expanding that into drones and other types of robots that we'll be looking at within 2026. So that is the first point there. Now on advanced visualization, many of you have been users of our legacy SSRS reporting, right? So we've actually released this year an improved functionality through advanced visualization to replace SSRS. So all of our baseline reports have been migrated over from SSRS to advanced visualization reporting. So you're now able to do things like scheduling of reports, dynamic content rendering. You're able to have conditional styling and interactive drill downs. And we're on a path as well, actively developing customer report authoring, which will now finally enable our customers to be able to do the customer reporting without having to rely on our services team. So that would be a major improvement as well that we're looking to deliver. Also note that you can also, for default family reports, you can set these to AdViz via the family configuration in the configuration manager. And then your advanced visualization reports can be set as associated pages as well in the family configuration. So two key things that you can also achieve there. Next up is one of our accelerators portfolio products. So it's called, or workflows, it's called AHMA, Asset Health and Maintenance Assessment. So we've basically introduced, as part of the asset maintenance index calculation, we've introduced the dimension of factoring and work history that would influence the AMI calculation. Now, one thing to note as well here with AHMA, we're also looking at how we can better improve the user experience for our customers. And essentially, you'll hear as well from Martha how we're partnering to embed some of this capability as part of the product itself. So that would be something exciting as well to look forward to within our portfolio improvements. Next up on connectivity enhancements. So we've enabled integration to AMS through the APM Connect workflow. So this actually is going to enable you to retrieve diagnostic and alerts data. So think of things like getting your device lists, maybe current health, getting alerts, and basically digest these or ingest these alerts basically into APM for consumption from things like policy. Your health indicators can consume that. You can even generate recommendations as well for maintenance action from this new set of data that we're bringing in. So that's another exciting and long-awaited enhancement or integration enablement that we've brought back. And then lastly, on the enablement of on-prem to cloud migration. So in on-prem, we have a bunch of VB rules that are basically, we consider custom rules that are created by customers. So we've been introducing methods through policy to basically replace these VB rules and be able to move from customization to configuration. So we've introduced that 10 plus methods for the policy text node here that would help with replacing VB rules, and it's an enablement that will help customers more seamlessly migrate from on-prem to cloud for those desiring that move. Okay, and with that, these were the highlights, I would say, a few key highlights of our essentials and foundation capabilities that we released. So with that, I will pass it on to Martha. She will cover health. Martha, over to you.
Thank you, Mason. And yes, next we have APM recent deliverables. Allow me to please spend a little bit of time on our Rounds Pro application. We have invested quite a bit of time and resources this year, ensuring that Rounds Pro is ready for playtime. We have fully updated our Rounds application in order to enable scalability and improve performance, as well as the user experience. And I'm happy to report that we are there. Again, after substantial work on this application for the past 24 months or so, it is a mature application that is adopted by many on our install base, and with great performance results reported so far. With that, we'll give you a little summary in regards to the latest deliverables for Rounds Pro. And yes, there has been many more throughout those 24 months. This is just a snapshot of the latest. Step scheduling. Step scheduling has been introduced and heavily overhauled from the previous legacy view, allowing you to schedule both routes at to create the schedules at both your route and step levels. Compliance tracking, we understand this was a huge problem for many of us, being forced to customize many of these reporting utilities. Now we have an improved compliance tracking application that gives you insights in regards to what your operators might be missing and what's going on overall with inefficiencies within your rounds performance. The migration tool, here we're highlighting the migration of measurement location schedules, but that's really just the latest one. The migration tool has been a huge undertaking for our team, aimed to enable the migration from the legacy rounds to the Rounds Pro application to be as easy and seamless as possible. The migration tool has many capabilities, including the fact that it can fully overhaul and do the heavy lifting on your migration on these applications, enabling your time to value, reducing your services spent. So again, just making the whole migration a lot easier and more streamlined for you as a user. We're highlighting NFC functionality here, but also we have introduced recently all other types of scanning. So RFID and so forth are already available, enabling you to connect any of these tagging methodologies to your reading locations and to your route's information. Lastly, we have introduced as the last piece of our lubrication steps, the ability to utilize a data loader to move data into that application. The full scope of lubrication steps is currently available, lubrication steps, lubrication routes within Rounds Pro. And with that quick summary of APM Health and Rounds Pro deliverables, recent deliverables, I'll pass it on to Janet for SmartSignal.
Thank you, Martha. So on SmartSignal, our predictive analytics software, I wanted to cover a few recent deliveries as well as some of the coming soon. I know this is a year in review, but we've done some work in 2025 to enable some of the exciting features that we have coming soon in 2026. So first, for recent deliveries is the time to action feature. Many of you know that this was already available in our on-premises product. So SmartSignal began many years ago on-prem, and we since developed the SaaS offering. This is a popular feature that we wanted to bring to the SaaS offering that our users are leveraging to plan maintenance for their next outage. For example, to look at a piece of equipment and the SmartSignal forecast with TTA and decide whether or not they will have to plan maintenance in their next outage or whether it can wait for a future outage. Next is sensor health monitoring enhancements. So we've talked a lot about the sensor health monitoring and how that it reduces false alerts. This is going to make a significant impact on continuing to reduce those false alerts, knowing that that's a key pain point for our users to have false alerts that they're dealing with. And so we've added several enhancements here. It's also going to help enable the coming soon feature of faster model maintenance. This is a feature where instead of waiting on a check-in, check-out time, you'll have a one-click acceptance for new data that you want to train into your model. We delivered this on-prem this year. Now, generally speaking, we are innovating in SaaS first, but this was a case where it was a bigger pain point for our on-prem users, and so we addressed it there first. We'll leverage that and build it into the SaaS offering next year. Next, our blueprints. We're always working to enhance and improve our blueprints. One key example this year was in Cycle Watch, knowing that especially our power generators are cycling more and want to be able to catch issues while they're in startup, for example. So we're continuing to enhance this and improve the value that you're getting from the Cycle Watch functionality. In the coming soon, we have been working throughout the year on our GenAI prescriptive recommendations. Now, as I've said all along, this is something that we're doing with a lot of intention around making sure that it will deliver high value for you. We've heard from you that there's a reluctance to sometimes adopt a new technology because you don't want to spend time on something that doesn't add value yet. And so we've been very intentional working with the maturity of this technology to ensure that when you start using it, you will be getting quality recommendations. And so we're doing some pilots with customers. I have an opening for one more pilot. So if you are interested in joining the pilot, becoming an early adopter, and really influencing the user experience with this capability, please do reach out. And we'll see this as a beta release next year, where we can enable this on your tenant, again, as more of an early adopter, but once we have shared the experience of these pilots with you. Continuing to work on faster implementation in addition to, as I mentioned, the faster model maintenance. So we hear from you that even for our existing users, often you want to add equipment or add sites, and implementation and time to value are very important to you. We know that because we offer blueprints as this content and pre-built models that you can leverage very quickly, that it does take more in the setup to, for example, map your tags into a blueprint. And we know that that is a pain point that you would like to see faster implementation, even knowing that once you do have these implemented, you get a very quick time to value because you have the pre-built models. And last is integration with our new GE Vernova APM software that you'll hear us continue to talk more about. Mazen, for example, is going to cover the beta program that we've been running on additional prescriptive analytics capabilities that will complement SmartSignal. And Martha is working, for example, on advances in the health application. You heard Mazen mention the AHMA accelerator tying SmartSignal into the health indicators. We're continuing to build these together with integration in mind. And so that's something that we'll be spending more time on in 2026, as well as you see us adding new capabilities within APM. With that, I will hand it to Vipin to talk through APM Integrity.
Thanks, Janet. Okay, so this year, when we look back at 2025, as usual, we have done substantial number of advancements within mechanical integrity. So if I start with inspection, the couple of items that we did add, which is deferral, as you know, we added inspection task, but now the same is available on recommendation. And we are expanding it to other use cases. So it will be available in calibration, proof test, any of the compliance-driven tasks or recommendation. We want to enable the ability to carry out a deferral workflow. It is well accepted, and we have got good feedback on this capability overall. The second one, which I do want to highlight, is how we are looking at integrating inspection and thickness monitoring into one consolidated module. You know, TM can be there for calculating the remaining life, etc. But the execution and the planning side, how do you ensure that the right TMLs are scoped as per your RBI recommendation, and how inspection task can be that central piece which can hold that information? We have done a lot of work on that. So this year, what we have done is now you are able to link the TMLs from TM module inspection task, but we are also giving you an additional capability where you can do it in a smarter way, where you can define the criteria and the system will automatically suggest the 5% or 10% or 20% based on our RBI recommendation. So one is the integration is much tighter, and we are also giving you some basic analytics capability so that you can link the right TMLs into the inspection task. So that's available in version 5.3 onwards. The second is our work where we continue to innovate is the visualization concept. So, you know, when we introduced 2D visualization, we introduced that in TM module. But this year we have expanded that to RBI, which is not only at the corrosion loop, but you can visualize at an asset view. So both at an asset view and corrosion loop view, you can map your RBI components and display any risk data on that image itself. The other place where we continue to innovate would be Integrity Mobile. And that's something which will have a lot of work coming up for next year too, especially enabling TM measurements in Integrity Mobile, or the ability to upload images from the device itself, or the ability to now have a scope visualization at a task level. So we do plan to continue to innovate in that space. And we are having more and more customers trying to roll it out and providing us feedback. And we are taking those feedback and putting it back to the product itself. Last but not the least is we are also updating the RBI 581 module as per 4th edition. So the first one, the major one which we have introduced, is the thinning and lining model have completely changed in the 4th edition. So we have introduced that with version 5.3, and we continue to deliver all the changes, and we plan to complete it by Q2 next year, followed by a certification. So anybody who's using RBI 581, please be aware that as you upgrade to version 5.3 and onwards, we will be shifting towards the 4th edition moving forward. I think with that, I'll hand it over to Laura for covering CERius.
Hey, Laura, you're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, you're on mute. Yeah, if you want to, I guess. Ensure, yeah. Laura, sorry, I think you're still, we're having issues on the audio for sure on this one. Yeah, we can.
Okay, sorry about that. Just keeping things exciting. So CERius is our emissions management software. And essentially what we're doing with CERius, the problem we're trying to solve, is unifying all of the scope 1, 2, 3, and data into actionable intelligence for high-emitting industries, and then helping sustainability teams and operational teams be audit ready with AI-powered automated emission reporting software. So a few of the recent things we've been working on is really a centralized emissions accounting ledger. So this is not just carbon dioxide, but it's also nitrous oxides, sulfur oxides, and other air pollutants. We've been working on monitoring and alerting around emissions. So this is really where your sustainability and operational teams can connect, because very much oftentimes, if a asset is acting up, it may also be over emitting. So really important to connect those dots. Regional regulatory framework. So everyone has this kind of audit period. So we want to help you be always kind of audit ready, and have that data not have to be chased, and have a ton of resources around pulling that data together for these regulatory reports. And then data-driven investment guidance. This is really interesting. So this is kind of where I would say investment and sustainability teams come together. So how do you know what decarbonization projects to invest in that will give you the fastest payback and the most emissions reduction? So that's kind of really exciting on the kind of the strategy side of our tool. And then mapping your path to decarbonization. So whether that's going back to kind of a baseline goal in 2018, 2019, or you have a forward-looking 2030 or 2050 goal, knowing that you're on track for that, and that your data is accurate and updated in real time, so that you're able to track towards that performance confidently. Is what CERius can help with. And then coming soon, expanding to scope 3 coverage. So all of those kind of 15 categories that are kind of further down the line. So use of sold goods, expanding carbon forecasting. So like I was talking about before with investment guidance, what if you're looking at, do we want to invest more in carbon capture and storage? Should we do energy efficiency upgrades? What if we wanted to look into hydrogen? So instead of just going and investing in those, how do we know that will work? And how can we visualize that before going and investing? And then improving the user customization of report templates, so making those really even easier to use. And then we're talking more and more we've worked a lot with power generation customers, but of course expanding our oil and gas use case and customization. So that's kind of a high level of what we've worked on in 2025 and going into 2026. I'd love to talk to any and all of you who are at all interested, or thinking about your emissions and how they connect into operations as it's all connected. And I will hand it back over to Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Laura, and thank you to the team. I do see some activity in the attendee chat. We will try to see what's going on with the links to the slides and the data access. Just give us a few minutes to work on that. Thank you for flagging. We'll give that a look. And just a reminder, we're getting a good amount of questions in the chat. Please keep asking the questions. We'll get to a ton in the end. The chat is still open. But without further ado, we're going to hand it over. We're going to get into some forward-looking work that we have in progress. You heard a little bit about it from each of the PMs in their section on what's coming and what's being delivered. I'm going to hand it over to Mazen and Vipin and the team to kind of talk through some key topical areas that we're looking at and where we're heading, and maybe tie together some of the vision from where we are today and where we're going. So over to you guys.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, so I'll cover the left-hand side. Vipin will cover the right hand with the app. So yeah, I think we're investing in several areas, and this is, again, forward-looking. So think of this as more of the 3-year outlook as well that we're looking into. So first up on that slide is machine learning, MLOps. So we've actually been partnering with AWS on their SageMaker capability. So today within APM, you do have certain MLOps capabilities. It's just limited in the aspect of, especially if you bring your own analytic today, right? You're not able to edit it. You have to edit your analytics offline. You can't tune, you can't train, right? You can only inference against live data. So what we're doing here is expanding that and providing or bringing in the concept of building your own analytic, where you will have an interconnected environment. Again, I said we're partnering with AWS, so we're looking, for example, at SageMaker to bring that in as a tool that will enable true MLOps, or like full-scale MLOps activity. You'll basically be able to develop using low-code, no-code, and using Jupyter Notebook environment, right? If you want to actually write the Python code itself. And that'll be completely connected into APM, so you'll be able to push that analytic and do the inference. And you can do the training and tuning as well through that SageMaker environment. We're actually running, in partnership with Janet and the team, a beta program. So customers are basically welcome to sign up to be early testers of this capability. And essentially just making sure that we fine-tune any requirements and capture your requirements as we go through that phase. The next one is enterprise data platform integration. So for this one, obviously we hear a lot of our customers now have ecosystems, whether it's Databricks, whether it's Snowflake, whether it's Cognite, right? You have these data platforms that are pretty much ingrained within your enterprise ecosystem. So we are looking at ways as well to simplify the integration with these systems, right? So think of the Delta connector into Databricks, for example, right? How can we easily move data or basically pull data out of your ecosystem, even without having to replicate it? So we want to get into more of point of access as well as we shift into this. So we're looking more at how we expand these integrations. Obviously, I've also mentioned our AMS, for example, integration. We added that as a capability. We're also looking at our existing integrations, right, with Maximo and SAP, improving these, making these more API-driven and more robust in terms of integrations. Next up is what you're reading here is persona and data-driven assistance. So as the name says, these will be agents. Think of Gen AI in this case. We're talking about agents that can help you, for example, with summarizing text files, right? PDFs, inspection reports, right? Where you can summarize the information there. You can maybe take the recommendation and the agent can create that recommendation for you. You're looking at a natural language query as well, where you can ask a question to the agent, it'll respond back. It can actually also give you the meta SQL query behind that. Many of our customers have to manually go and write these meta SQL queries and add them into policies and other places. So we're looking at easing that user experience. Much of these two capabilities we're looking to accelerate and release within 2026. And you've heard Janet as well talk about the prescriptive recommendation. So this will also be a capability that we're looking into accelerating within next year to drive more of the, if you get an alert, right, and you need to action it, you'll have the assistant that's going to help you generate these recommendations for that alert. Now, I spoke about MLOps as well. There's also a capability that we're looking into for generating the analytic. So there's a prototype we've also worked on with AWS earlier this year on that. We're looking at how we can better give the ability maybe to non-technical folks, SMEs that understand failure modes, right, in terms of generating an analytic using an assistant there. And then we're also looking into expanding into strategy template creation as well. Next up is regional deployment expansion. So many of our customers are also looking for, hey, how can we shift from on-prem to a cloud environment, right? So that obviously comes with certain challenges in certain countries or regions where localization is needed, right? Whether it's for data sovereignty purposes. So we're basically looking at an expansion of our APM deployment. In 2026, we're going to look at the Saudi region as one of the regions that we will be expanding into. We are closely working with AWS just to finalize these timelines, as they also make this region available for the Middle East, and go from there. So that's one of the exciting news that you will hear us talk about within 2026. And lastly is the expanded data capture and analysis, right? So you probably saw some of it in CERius. We're looking at pulling in scope 3 type data as part of autonomous inspection as well. We're looking at how do we expand robot data capture, right, from drones, right, from other robots that are out there, making sure that that integration is somewhat agnostic, right? So every customer may have their different robots deployed on site. We want to make sure that we're able to also capture that information as seamlessly as possible. So really, that's kind of our outlook and what we're looking for from a platform perspective in terms of investments that we'll be looking into within 2026 and beyond. And Vipin, over to you on the app side.
Thanks, Mazen. So I'll cover with, start with on the intelligent APM workflow. So I want to give an update that we are at a point where we understand that we will have to kind of take the next leap, considering all the technology that is available to us, considering all the years of experience that we have in the market, and considering the effort that we have done to be SaaS ready. So from an application perspective, I think we are at the right stage to really accelerate the next level of investment within asset performance management. And we are excited to say that we have already identified 2 or 3 critical use cases. Again, we are not talking about features or functions. We are talking about new offerings kind of really targeted for specific use cases. And you might have heard it if you are an existing customer already about it, which is we want to relaunch, say, Defect elimination. And I'll cover that a bit in the next slides. And Martha will cover about Health 2.0. But fundamentally, what we want to do is that we've been an organization who have all the modules kind of which was developed over the years, which does give value to you. But now we are really taking a step back, and we really want to understand how all these modules can be better integrated. The workflows are seamless, more intelligence, and the time to value is further reduced. Accelerators was a way to do it. But now if you want to take the experience of that and really productize it, that's what intelligent APM workflows means. And it'll also be taking the work that Mazen is doing, especially on the ML ops side, persona and data-driven agents or assistants. So it will be embedded into these workflows as we start to develop it in the next few years. The next one, obviously, mobile application use case expansion. As Martha mentioned about Rounds Pro, and as I mentioned about Integrity Mobile, these are places where we are still seeing traction and a lot of use cases, and we will be accelerating it. The other is also the mobile proof test and calibration. We did not talk much about it, but it's definitely in the radar to help you support the functional test capturing and the proof test capturing of it. The third one, Mazen did talk about AI inclusion and expansion. So we really do not want to jump into multiple use cases. We are really looking at a fundamental layer, whether we have the right platform, whether we are good from a cyber perspective, security perspective, testing perspective. So we have been kind of taking it slowly, but we have 2 or 3 solid use cases, and we are already working with some users. So one is entirely text extraction and summarization, very much required from an integrity perspective. That's one use case. And second, as Mazen said, overall Gen AI assistant, starting with, say, a query assistant, if you may. So there are few key use cases that we have already identified, and we'll talk more about it. And you can expect more sessions to talk in depth around these two. The next 2 places which I'll talk about is around asset investment planning and maintenance planning is 2 things. So we are really looking at strategy optimization. So we set up the asset strategy, we have asset health to track how it is performing, but we still have not done a lot of strides in how you can intelligently optimize your asset strategies, and we are going to work on that space there too. And finally, investment planning, this is an expansion of spare parts. So we have had few customers who are really interested in that, and we are going to, in fact, partner with one of our customers to understand how we can build a spare part optimization or a management tool, which is not mimicking your spare part module, but in fact, kind of adds the layer of risk and help you take actions on holding the right levels. So these are a lot, and I would say that in last few years, you would not have seen this much of an investment, but this is a place where we are going to pivot, and you will see in the next few years, we would be working on completely new offerings, and we are excited to work along with you. And if you are really interested to be early adopters or partner for pilots, please reach out to us, and we will be interested to have you in these programs. With that, I just wanted to give a glimpse of one of the intelligent workflows, which is called defect elimination. A lot of you would have already seen it, heard about the concept. As a concept, it is not new, which is identifying your bad actors based on your work history, production loss, etc. So there are already modules capabilities which does this individually, right? But think of where do we need to evolve this. One is definitely the workflow evolution. It has to be pretty straightforward. It has to be pretty intuitive. It has to be pretty user-friendly. So we are going to kind of completely revamp the concept of defect elimination as a new offering, and we are going to work on it. The other is data. So we heard it loud and clear. One of the places where everybody struggles is the work history data quality. So one of the value of this new offering would be how intelligently we can highlight the data quality issues and how we can flag the data confidence of each of the metric calculations, which impacts your reliability and availability. So that will be a key underlying theme for it. And we'll also evaluate how we can embed AI from a data quality perspective. And finally, the other is data to action. So it will clearly say, okay, if this is the case, what you should be doing next. So investigation and the root cause analysis would be embedded as a part of it. And also, we would try to track the improvements so that you are able to talk to your leadership on eliminating these bad actors, how it is impacting your top level growth. So we would be providing you a way where you can really connect all this work to see how it is impacting the top level metrics too. Yeah. So this is called the defect elimination or the reimagining defect elimination. We have a current user group. We are, inviting more users if you're interested to it, and we will be running this on a periodic way. With that, I will hand it over to Martha.
Thank you, Vipin. Yes, it's very exciting to report to you guys that we would be working extensively on overhauling our health application in 2026 with very, very exciting pieces of what Vipin and Mazen just outlined for us on technology and shortcuts to make your life easier and more productive. one of the most important pieces of the Health 2.0 initiative is that we are driving all your data, as we typically have for your condition-based maintenance through health, now through a new lens, and that is the lens of operational risk. It's not useful to you to understand two critical priorities at the same time if you don't have the context to fully assess what is the impact from each one of those into your business, into your operations, into your bottom line. So this operational risk addition module to the Health 2.0 will be risk-based for prioritization and clear impact decision-making, which will give you very proactive risk reduction, allowing you to reduce your unplanned downtime in the most economically feasible manner. Also, it will allow you to perform some resource optimization. I don't know of any organization that has enough resources to do all the maintenance that is required. If you can drive this through, again, a risk lens, now you know what your higher priorities are, and you can allocate your resources accordingly. And you would also have the capability to assess and track that risk over time, which will create, and you will see that is one of the themes of Health 2.0, which will create a cycle of continuous improvement. We want to introduce a tool set and operational workflows that allow you to see how the impact of your ongoing activities can, in fact, produce an improvement over time and how to drive it. What you see to the right here on this chart is some of the content that some of you had been acquainted with through AMA or the Health Accelerator. You heard Vipin and also Masen talk about AMA in different contexts here. For Health 2.0, we're very excited to integrate all these key KPIs as a way to give you better insights and to be more conducive to quick decision making. Specifically, again, we're looking at all the operational risk KPIs, as well as the very key asset health index KPI to drive your maintenance decisions. Now, in regards to Health 2.0, which again is just our next generation, better and improved health product that we will be working on through 2026, we will have many of the interoperability technologies that both Vipin and Masen referred to. Very synergistic integrations inside our APM portfolio. For example, integration with autonomous inspections, where that data from that robot will be introduced into our routes application. And there will be really no difference for you as a user, whether it is a human operator or a robot, a device, performing that inspection. So again, with the goal of giving you increased productivity. Also, we would be aiming to have a closer integration with a strategy to create that cycle of continuous improvement. Your asset health index is a measure of the accuracy and effectiveness of your strategies. And as such, we want to utilize that data set to deliver those type of insights to you. And lastly, again, the integration with AMA or health accelerators to give you improved dashboarding and reporting. We know that has been an ongoing gap within the health product. And now we will address those with key KPIs, clear information, and intuitive dashboards. We will be enhancing data flexibility, want to incorporate as many data sources as possible. So you guys, again, you heard on the technology piece, how we doing different things with APIs, with agentic, etc., to bring new data sources into APM. We plan to fully utilize those to enhance the fidelity of your asset health index. The more data points we can incorporate into the assessment of your health, the more visibility you will have into what's really going on from a condition base on those assets. The unified dashboards, again, we're trying to give you data into the most intuitive way possible. These new dashboards, which again, driven by the concept of AMA with the key KPIs for decision making, would also be segmented in such a way that it will address all of the information and data needs within the organization. You will be able to see these KPIs at an enterprise level, so a higher level management just trying to see what's going on from a maintenance perspective. And as an end user, you will be able to drive from there all the way down to assessments and troubleshooting. So again, intuitive and accessible information for all levels of the organization. And yes, we will be including agentic in different ways. We're exploring, as Mason mentioned, the queries, which again are very useful to us within health and rounds. Having that agentic capability there will be great. We're also exploring other possibilities, such as the insights in regards to the improvements or ongoing improvements for the strategies and for rounds that you could perform through these agentics to quickly identify those easy targets for vast improvement. And that is a quick view of next year's Health 2.0. I pass it on to Ryan for the wrap up.
Yeah, thank you all so much. And I do want to do just, I know we only have 3 minutes, so we're going to follow up via email to a ton of questions. So thank you all. I just want to do a really firm reminder. There are ongoing beta programs that you heard about. If there's anything of interest, anything that we've shared, you want to give your input or be involved, please do reach out directly. We're happy to give you an overview of each program, what it means to be involved in the programs, and help you navigate whether you should participate. We've seen a really strong interest. I think everyone covered pretty well, but we are looking to partner and make sure that what we're working on is the right fit for you all. So please do reach out, whether it's your account rep, myself, if it's easier, one of the PMs, please engage. We're happy to share more information around those programs. And then finally, just to wrap up, thank you again. This is our last webinar for the year. A lot of you have joined a ton of them, so thank you all for being with us throughout this year. You've heard a lot of really exciting stuff. So as we go into 2026, if you are looking for more information or roadmap information, or you're not getting the information you need, please do engage with us. We're happy to